So our essential question is the same as last week. All living things are made of cells, but what are cells made of? And our key concept this week, we are talking about eukaryotic cells. Last week, we talked about the difference. We talked about prokaryotic cells, the very, very simple cells with only a few things that make them up, and then eukaryotic cells with the nucleus and all of the organelles. So today we're going to talk about all of the different organelles that eukaryotic cells have that make them special. So if we don't remember our root words that we talked about last week, the prefix eu, EU, means true. And then karyo means nucleus. So these cells have a true nucleus. For the prokaryotic cells, pro meant before the nucleus evolved, they have DNA or RNA, but it's just all willy-nilly in the center of the cell somewhere. So first, organelles in general. These are mini organs found only in eukaryotic cells. Most of them. I said prokaryotic cells have a couple, but not nearly as many as the eukaryotic cells do. And they are just like our organs that we have on the inside. They each have their own special function, structure and function. But they're many, so we call them organelles. It's like in Spanish, when you add ita to the end of something, it means just smaller. All right, the cytoskeleton is the first one. It gives the cell shape, support, and strength. It does the exact same thing that our skeleton does for us. And then if you remember last week, we talked about the prefix cyto. Cyto means cell. So this is the cell's skeleton. And then most of the pictures will either be animations or pictures of the organelles that scientists can see because they have very, very powerful microscopes. Our microscopes aren't this powerful. But under the very powerful microscopes, the cytoskeleton just looks like kind of like a web, like a little spider web. Our cells are very, very small, so it doesn't take much to support them. But they are strong. The nucleus is next, and it is spelled that way because the next one is a very similar word, but it means something different. So the nucleus, it is the biggest organelle in the cell, and if you look at a cell under microscopes, even under our microscopes, you can actually see the nucleus. It just looks like a little dark spot in the middle, which you guys will see in your virtual microscope lab this week. So it stores and protects the DNA. DNA are the instructions to make proteins, so it actually carries those instructions within it. And a lot of these cells we give nicknames, or a lot of these organelles, I'm sorry, we give them nicknames. So the nucleus's nickname is the brain. It basically has the information to direct all of the other organelles and their activities. It tells them what to do and when to do it. So you can see in the nucleus, there's an even smaller little dot inside of it. That is the nucleolus. Again, it's spelled so you can differentiate between the nucleus and the nucleolus. And it's the little kernel inside the nucleus. It's the place where ribosomes are made. Ribosomes are another organelle that we'll talk about in a few minutes. The rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is a mouthful. So we shorten it and just say rough ER. It is found right outside the nucleus. That's why there is a little circle shape right here. The nucleus goes right there. But the nucleus makes its proteins, sends it out to the rough ER, and the ER processes those proteins. And the reason it looks rough, because it has all these little dots in the surface, and all those little dots are ribosomes. So it makes the outside of the ER look rough. And again, the picture at the top, that picture is under an actual microscope, a stronger microscope that we have. But the ER here looks like little green rivers, and all the little dots, all the little red dots, those are the ribosomes. Ribosomes to our eyes just look like dots. And then we move on to the next one, which is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, or the smooth ER for short. And it looks smooth because it does not have ribosomes all over it. It's where it got its name. It's very simple. Its job is to break down toxins like drugs and alcohol. And it is also the place where lipids are made. Remember last chapter we talked about lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, proteins. The smooth ER is a place where lipids are synthesized. Because some lipids we need, like for our cell membranes, which is going to be very important next week. And now the ribosomes, all those little dots. They can be either found floating free, just dotted in the cytoplasm, or they are attached to the rough ER, making them look rough. And it is the place where proteins are synthesized or made. We have a whole chapter dedicated to protein synthesis later. But for now, you just have to know that ribosomes is where that happens, is where proteins are made. Like the smooth ER is where lipids are made. The ribosomes are where proteins are made. The next one is called the Golgi apparatus. Sometimes it's called the Golgi complex. Sometimes it's called the Golgi body. They all mean the same thing. But the Golgi sorts, packages, and delivers proteins. So it has a nickname. We call it the post office of the cell. Could be called FedEx or UPS too. Not a lot of people use the post office anymore, but it will collect raw proteins and either cut them up or package them smoothly and then send them out to the next place, wherever it's needed. Vesicles carry molecules where they need to go inside of a cell. It is the taxi or the Uber of the cell. Mitochondria. That's a long word. And I can't remember if we talked about before, but the CH, we don't say the CH sound in science. I don't know why. The CH always sounds like a K. Mitochondria, chromosome, chloroplast. We never use the ch sound. Again, I don't know why. So this is the mitochondria. And it supplies energy to the cell. It is the place where a process called cell respiration happens. Respiration is a fancy word for breathing. Our bodies take in oxygen and put out carbon dioxide. That is called respiration. Within your cells do the exact same process. They take in oxygen, they put out carbon dioxide, and that process is more chemically based, but it is called cell respiration. That whole process of taking in oxygen, putting out carbon dioxide over and over and over again until you die. Because your body needs oxygen. Vacuoles are where things get stored. Plants have a very, very large vacuole. Animals have many smaller ones. But we call this the garage or the attic. Plants, a lot of the time, especially plants like a cactus, have to store a lot of water and nutrients to be able to survive in case of water shortages. And that's what the vacuole is for. Animals eat and drink a lot more. So ours can be smaller and fewer and far between. The picture is one of a plant cell because it's that big one, the large central vacuole in the middle. Lysosome digests old cell parts. We call it the stomach of the cell because when we eat things, our stomach breaks it down with a lot of acid and then puts those smaller parts into different places. That's what the lysosome does with its own parts. It'll also attack bacteria and viruses because they know they're not meant to be there. We're not supposed to have bacteria and viruses in our system. So our cells will use its lysosomes to get rid of them. Centrioles. These form cilia and flagella to help cells move. Also helps with cell division. So centrioles are for movement. Sometimes cells got to move. They got to go different places. And all of our cells have to divide. So the centrioles move within the cell and spread apart to be able to help with that process. And that entire process we will go through in a future chapter when we talk about mitosis or cell division. The cell wall is an extra layer of protection outside of the cell membrane that is found in plant cells and in prokaryotic cells and in bacteria. Animal cells, we do not have cell walls. But plant cells do, and so do bacteria, so do prokaryotic cells. So they have the cell membrane like we all do, but they also have another wall on the outside of that. They need a little bit of extra protection to protect against the elements. Chloroplasts. Again, there's that CH sound that doesn't sound like a CH. It sounds like a K. Chloroplast is the organelle where photosynthesis happens. Therefore, they are only found in plant cells or algae. There are photosynthetic algae, but algae aren't plants. And we can crack open the chloroplast, and there's a bunch of stuff in there too. We'll talk about that next chapter when we talk about photosynthesis. But chloroplasts, the reason plants are green and that they can do photosynthesis. The cell membrane we talked about last week because all cells have cell membranes. Can also be called the plasma membrane. You'll see it both ways, means the same thing. It separates the cells inside from the outside. It regulates what goes in and out of a cell. And it is found in all cells, prokaryotic, eukaryotic, plant, animal. And its nickname is the skin. It is the skin of a cell. Keeps good stuff in, keeps all of our organelles, all of the nutrients, all of the water, keeps all that stuff in that's supposed to be there, keeps bad stuff out. And bacteria, viruses, parasites. It's a physical barrier that just says, no, you don't get to come in here. And the cytoplasm. Again, cyto, prefix meaning cell. And then plasm is that jelly-like material holding everything in place. The nucleus has its own plasm called the nucleoplasm. This is the cytoplasm found throughout the entire cell, and it's that blue background in that picture. And again, this is another one that is found in all cells that we talked about a little bit last week. All cells need that cytoplasm to just hold everything into place. And it is semi-solid because some things do need to move. But it's not just liquid like water. That is it for these notes. So finish your notes. The video will be uploaded by this afternoon. Write your summary for the end if you forgot how to write your summary. Are we doing a summary this week, or are we doing a Venn diagram? What did it say on your notes? The diagram. Okay. Well, I'm going to fix that. Complete your Venn diagram for the end. Complete your Venn diagram at the end. Comparing plant and animal cells. Plant and animal cells. I thought I had one. I don't know why I put the summary. But there you go. Complete your, can't spell, there. So do that instead. Complete your Venn diagram at the end. If we don't remember, you have the two connecting cells. One side for plant cells, one side for animal cells. And then the middle is where you put both. There are quite a few that both of them have, but there are a few that only plant cells have and then only animal cells have. And then finish and turn in all your assignments for the rest of the week. The other thing I actually wanted to bring to your attention is a few of you are having issues with the lockdown browser, which I'm in the middle of posting an announcement to try to help with that. So all your quizzes and tests are on the lockdown browser. You can only have that one tab open to be able to take the quizzes and tests. Nothing else can be open. You should be using your notes to help you with the answers for your quizzes and tests. So if you're having issues with the quizzes and exams because of the lockdown browser, there's a few things you can do. Number one, close all your tabs. Number two is something called power washing. Power wash your computer, because I'm sure, unless you're brand new, none of you have reset your computer in years. So I'm going to link the power washing directions because that's what technology told me to do. I went to our technology department and I said, hey, some of my kids are having issues, and they suggested power washing your Chromebook. So power wash your computer. I'm going to post the directions in the announcement. The other thing, if you're still having problems after that, you have office hours or tutoring, or what's it called? The Learning Lab. go to the Learning Lab. That's what it's called. Try this time. There. IOA Learning Lab. Go to the Learning Lab and tell them that you are having issues. Learning Lab hours, Mondays are 9:15. Tuesday through Friday, they start at 8:30. So get up, go to the Learning Lab. There's the Google Meet. You just click on it, just like you do for this, and say, hey, I've done this, and I've done this. I've power washed my computer, and I'm still having issues with the lockdown browser. And they should have, because it's a technology problem. I can't fix technology. You got to go to tech to fix technology. They should be able to help you with that. All right. So close all your tabs, power wash your computer. I will post those directions in the announcement. Or if that still doesn't work, go to the Learning Lab and ask for help and tell them what's going on. Okay.